you even imagine trying to play the victim in this scenario? I am so glad people caught on. Female teacher who molested an 11-year-old boy and then blamed him for coming on to her learns her fate. Oh, God, you probably shouldn't have done that. You probably shouldn't have tried to play the victim against an 11-year-old boy. That's just going to make everyone a lot more likely to throw the book at you, which is very well deserved, by the way. So a former teacher who admitted to sexually assaulting an 11-year-old boy whom she claimed came on to her was sentenced to 10 years behind bars on Thursday. That means she's probably going to get like 3 months before getting out for good behavior. Allie Bardfield, 34, who worked as a substitute at Decatur Public School in Illinois, was taken into custody April current year -1 after the youngster helped police in a sting operation. Oh, maybe that's how and why he came on to her, because he was working with the cops from the start. Man, this is actually a good white pill. Are the cops finally starting to take the pedophile problem in the school system seriously? The mother of 3 has since pleaded guilty to the predatory criminal sexual assault of a child, admitting that she lured the 6th grade student to her home for play dates before struggle snuggling him. Oh God, no! So she did get him, and then he went to the cops afterwards. Damn, that's unfortunate. Yeah, it would have been such a funny story if the fucking 11-year-old was just working with the cops from the start, and they fucking Chris Hansen'd her ass. But, oh, man, so he didn't avoid the struggle snuggle. Her crime first came to light last year after the boy's mother noticed him acting differently following an overnight stay at the teacher's home on March 29th. Now, isn't that just a little bit suspicious? All I know is if I came to my parents when I was in fucking elementary school asking if I could spend the night at my teacher's house, unless there was some event going on, because we did do some overnight things, like, but it was always in a group. Like one of the clubs I was in, we actually went as a group to the midnight showing of I think it was Star Wars Episode 2. And then we went back to the teacher's house after that just to, sleep off the rest of the night before going home. But it wasn't like a private one-on-one with the teacher, let's just say. It was planned out ahead of time. Everyone knew who was going to be there. Everyone knew where everyone was going to be. But yeah, these parents, like this boy's parents, are just as culpable, in my opinion. Yeah, they're actually using the word sexually assaulted. Yeah, that's right. And they even said she raped the boy. Yeah. I mean, yeah, usually they try to downplay the language when talking about female pedophiles. The media tries to run defense for them quite often. All right, the concerned mother went through his phone and said she found text messages between her son and Bardfield, as well as photos of them together, including one in which they were flipping off the camera, swearing. Nothing wrong with that. That one sounds like it's in good fun. She also discovered the teacher had sent her son to $700 over the course of several months. So she was just a hoe. She confronted her child about the situation. The child disclosed he had unprotected sexual intercourse with Bardfield the night March 29th. The mother took her child to HSHS St. John's Hospital as staff administered a struggle snuggle kit. I mean, he was 11. When police then questioned the boy, he told them Bardfield took him to her bedroom where they kissed and she took off both of their clothes. They then did the act on her bed, which she had shared with her husband, Casey Newton Bardfield, construction worker, the boy said. Does the husband know about this? Oh, man, we covered one of these stories a few years ago where the husband was still standing by his wife after she pulled something like this. Now, that guy must have a cuckold fetish. It remains unclear why the boy was staying at the teacher's house while her family was away. I think we know why, but I'm curious as well as to what the excuse was. In the aftermath, the boy said he and Bardfield exchanged nude photos on Snapchat. After hearing what happened, the cops devised a plan with the boy and his mother to get Bardfield to incriminate herself in text messages and record calls with him. As part of the scheme, the youngster texted the substitute that he was going out of town, but he had hoped to see her again when he came back. I love you and I miss you, Ali. When I come back, I'll see if I can come over, he wrote. Barfield Leslie replied, "You're always welcome. I love and miss you too." Yeah, husband's not good enough, huh? Officers also obtained a court order for a wiretap and had the boy call Barfield later that day when she told him that her tubes are tied and she cannot get pregnant. Oh, I'm sure that's true. Yeah, she wouldn't lie about something like that. Just like, you wouldn't snuggle an 11-year-old boy, would you? The victim asked I if he came over this weekend, if he could do it again. I responded, yes. Police arrested Barfield in her home in Mount Zion, Illinois, hours later with body camera footage showing her appearing shocked as officers arrived at her door and told her she was being taken into custody. She then allegedly admitted the crime, but claimed the boy had made sexual advances towards her. Yeah, even a whammons in a position of power and privilege will claim the victim and claim, oh, he was abusing his power over me. Barfield also said she gave him money via Cash App and exchanged naked photos on Snapchat with him, according to police. Decatur Public Schools fired Bradford shortly after the allegations emerged, and she pleaded guilty as part of a deal 16 months later. I wonder how much she would have been facing if she didn't plead guilty. Negotiations between prosecution and defense in the aftermath resulted in prosecutors asking for a 40-year sentence, but the exact length of her stay was ultimately up to Judge Rodney Forbes. I'm surprised the judge didn't cuck out. At the hearing on Tuesday, a judge heard statements from the boy's father, who said his son had not been the same since he was sexually assaulted. Prosecutors also noted that the boy was permanently traumatized by the experience, saying Barfield's actions also affected the family, arguing she betrayed all mothers. A former teacher also delivered remarks in which she admitted her wrongdoing and expressed her desire to go back in time and not make the same error. What error do you mean? Doing the act in the first place, or putting some safeguards in place so you don't get caught? Which of those do you consider the error? You know that she is a mother of 3 with one child the same age as the victim, and because of her actions, she lost her relationship with her husband and children as well as her home. Okay, so this husband wasn't a complete cuck. At least that much is good. Barfield's defense, presenting mitigating factors, included letters and statements from her family and friends asking a judge for an 8-year sentence, arguing that her mother had taken responsibility for her actions and has no prior criminal history and has mental health issues that she is attending counseling for. No prior criminal history that anyone knows about. How many other 11-year-old boys have spent the night at her house? After hearing the arguments, Judge Forbes sentenced Barfield to 10 years in prison with credit for time spent in custody, around 18 months, and half a credit for the time she spent in the Macon County Jail, another 10 months. She will also be recommended for a mental health treatment while in prison. I mean, you got free health care while in prison. Why not? Once out of prison, Barfield will be on parole for anywhere from 3 years to life and required to register as a sex offender for life. In deciding the sentence, Judge Forbes said he was mindful that this was Barfield's first offense of any kind. The Herald and Review reported. He went on to say that he believed the defendant, who sobbed throughout the proceedings and said she was sorry, had a rehabilitative potential. Yeah, also has manipulative potential too. Like, whammons are really good at turning on the crocodile tears. I would be wondering if she's sorry she did it or she's sorry she got caught. But the decision angered the child's family, who got up and immediately left the courtroom following the sentence. Did you really think a male judge would give a crying woman a rough sentence? I mean, the fact that they did a 10-year one in the first place is actually pretty impressive on its own. If you expected more, I don't know what to say, man. If it was a female judge, it would have gone to either extreme, either let off with a slap on the wrist or the full 40 years. But with a male judge, you could always rely on them to be simps. Yeah, they could be heard crying out, "It's a joke," and other protests as they walked away. Macon County State's Attorney Diane Curry also said wholeheartedly stands by a recommendation for 40 years behind bars. The Macon County State Attorney's Office takes crimes against children very seriously and as such recommend a sentence appropriate to the offense. A victim of sex offenses carries the burden of the trauma for the rest of their lives, Curry continued. As the defendant was in a position of trust as a substitute teacher, the level of egregiousness of this offense requires substantial sentence. Wouldn't that be an extenuating factor then? Or an aggravating factor? Abusing power and privilege to take advantage of someone? That's basically what happened here. Yeah, worst women's are always treated with kid gloves. Yeah, remember Casey Anthony? That whole story? She concluded that by saying her office will continue to seek just sentences in cases where victims are the most vulnerable. Yeah, in this case, like I don't really blame the prosecutor for this, since the prosecutor tried. It's the judge that set the sentence. They got their win, but they couldn't get the sentence they wanted. Not really much they could do about that, unless they convinced the judge that this Whammons was literally Satan. In which case, the judge would require a little bit more lobbying to slap her on the wrist. Yeah, men getting life in prison for almost the same thing. I know, right? I mean, we're getting closer to equality. We're not there yet. But it's progress. We just got to make sure that the progress doesn't stall. That's all. But we'll keep monitoring stories like this and see what happens.